Hello, good evening. How are you doing? Welcome along to a very special Let's Talk Trek, not talking Trek.
Watching Trek.
Yes. Today we are going to be watching the brilliant film that is Star Trek Generations. And as we all around the world press play and watch it together, we're going to be on this live stream discussing
anyone who says it isn't brilliant, I'll catch you.
Oh, see.
So, just to be clear, because I've not done one of these before, this is sort of like watching it with the DVD extra commentary, isn't it?
Yes, but instead of Rick Berman saying something useful, you've got us four saying absolute twaddle.
Something insightful.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So that's not the plan. So if you are ready to watch the lovely, great film that is Star Trek Generations, bob into the comments that you have a copy. Get it to the beginning. Don't press play yet. We're all going to press play together, and we're going to discuss it as it's on. And you guys will type into the comments. That's the plan.
I've just realised, you know, when you watch a film, the most irritating thing is when people just talk all the way through it. That's essentially what we're inviting people to come happen.
That's it. This is their opportunity.
Why is anyone going to watch?
Well,
because it's us.
Well, yes,
you don't get this special feature on the Blu-ray.
Oh, God, no.
Could you imagine?
Are we on for the full length of the... Oh, yes.
Oh,
Start
certainly.
to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Richard's staying up especially late.
Big flipping well am, yeah.
He's normally in bed by now.
Yes, on a weekday, there's every chance I would be pushing the Z's and resting the old beam.
So, if you are ready with Star Trek Generations, and you should hopefully have it by now in your method of viewing, be it on some sort of disc or on a streaming service, get yourself ready, because we are going to at 2100 hours and how many minutes? 10?
Yeah, I think we give it 10 minutes for...
Yeah, we're going to give people a chance to
Yeah, we'll go at 9:10.
10 past, we're going to start that.
Yeah.
So, while we're waiting for people to join on and tell us that they're ready for the film to start, what is your Star Trek Generations snack of choice, boys? What are we watching it with?
Oh, you didn't mention snacks. Hang on.
James's butler is rubbish.
I went for flaming hot Watsits.
I've gone for chickpea curry with wraps.
I have sweet and salted popcorn and red vino.
Oh, yeah, so I've got the good stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And James, what is the cocktail you're going to be watching this with?
No cocktail tonight, just a bottle of Coors.
Oh, Paul's here. Hey, Paul. Paul, are you watching this from your exquisite cinema?
I certainly hope so. I would expect nothing less.
Wow.
Paul's up a cinema room and watch it in the lounge.
Let's have a look. That's not a bad show.
I'm going to need more snacks. Hang on.
We are so prepared for this feature.
Sugared almonds.
Wow. So if you are joining us and you're on the live stream, you're thinking, what are these four up to? We are about to group watch Star Trek Generations. That's correct. Which is a great film. So before we start, and while Richard's running off, what's your memories of Star Trek Generations coming out? How old were you, roughly? Where did you watch it?
Oh, well, I didn't actually watch it at the cinema. I was a whippersnapper of, 13 when it came out. And my first watch of it was at home on the old pay-per-view style thing on 9X cable.
Ooh. 9X, the precursor to Virgin Media.
Yes. And obviously, being that age, I had to beg my parents to let me have it on pay-per-view. So...
Back when pay-per-view was like £1,000 a film.
Yeah. You may as well have gone to the cinema.
Yeah. See, I didn't watch Generations at the movies. I watched First Contact's my first proper Trek film at the movies.
Yeah.
We just like to point out that our friend Paul is sat on the sofa, sprawled out with a fleece blanket. Why do I get him? Why in my head is he the Welsh equivalent of Tiger King? He's lying on some sort of sheepskin, just like, you know.
Well, if he's Welsh, it presumably is a sheepskin.
Is Wales in the same
Sheepskin's
time
right.
zone as us?
No, they're in the past. Very far in the past.
So Ben watched it at the Apollo 6 cinema in Wallesley in the Wirral when he was 14.
Oh. I'm fairly certain I saw this at the Dreamland cinema on Margate Seafront for the first time.
I think I may have watched it in Eltham because I was in my second year at university.
It would be good to have a re-release of this. This and First Contact back to back at the cinema. That's a double bill. I would pay some good money to go and see now.
Was there a cinema in Eltham? I can't remember.
I went to a cinema, so maybe it was Woolwich.
No, it was up the road from New Eltham in Bromley. That's where the cinema was.
Yeah, I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly where the cinema was, but yes, at university.
Oh, now Ben's got the poster and the passport. Do you know what? I've got a poster and a Passport to Adventure pack, which makes it I probably did see it at a cinema. That's interesting.
Oh, Ben, if you've got those, could you take some pictures and send it in to Carl at trekkiesguide.co.uk so we can appraise it? .com, that'll do.
Yep.
Not .co.uk. Apparently we're not British.
We're international.
We'd like to say a very big special thank you to our friends at CBS for not giving us the rights to show this on the actual screen.
To be fair, we didn't ask.
Well, as a
We should have
refusal
to.
offer defence.
We've just got to kind of hope none of the audio bleeds through from anyone.
That's why we're all wearing the earphones that we knew to get in advance.
Well, hang on, my earphones don't have a microphone on, so how does that help?
James, do you have the earphones plugged into your laptop or to the TV?
Into the laptop.
That's not going to work.
They're not going to reach there.
No, you can't have the audio from the TV hitting your microphone and coming onto
It
our
would be quicker to
screen.
train an ape!
Oh my god!
Someone get me IT. Look, I'll tell you what, I'll just put it on subtitles.
Oh, I have a dream that one day James will live in a world where technology.
I've seen the film often enough, I don't need the sound.
So what did you think the headphones were going to do, James?
There we are.
Oh, good grief. I'm glad we
Hey,
told them
to be
that.
fair though, at least you made the effort. Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you
bravo.
what, if you're watching this, when it comes back onto rewatch, like tonight or tomorrow, and if you are rewatching this, scrub the video back to the beginning and look how pleased James looks with himself that he's found some headphones.
I was just going to watch a film, sink a couple of beers, talk to my mates.
I'm afraid-
Suddenly I'm going to go running
Yeah.
around looking for headphones.
No,
Don't
if
worry,
I'm sorry,
We'll be
As
much
I-
better prepared for the next one.
as the IT department, I have to accept responsibility for this, and I do apologise.
Our next watch along in a couple of months' time will be from Richard's hot tub. So, Carl's not
Well,
invited.
yeah, we
Carl
could-
will be busy too busy.
To be
opening the
fair,
pub.
it's big enough. All four of us could get in it, and we could put a projector screen or something up. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Yes, but
the
not
Yes, I'm
necessarily
sure people want to
solid
tune in.
regulation.
I'm sure people want to tune in for 2 hours of watching us topless in the hot tubs.
Absolutely.
Who wouldn't?
Well,
Ooh. Maybe I could have Turkish subtitles just for fun.
why don't you have some Welsh subtitles and then watch it in solidarity with Paul?
Yes.
Wales do have their own language, you know.
They do. Actually speak Welsh.
I've heard you speak it.
I was going
You've got a
I would
Welsh
hope so. You
tongue.
brought up in Rails.
Yes, I was brought up in Wales.
Is it true Welsh and Klingon are the same language?
Yeah, just one's backwards. But for reasons of looking scary, they obviously decided that Michael Dorn would make a great Klingon and Alec Jones wouldn't. You know.
I reckon they should get Wesley Snipes to play Worf in the Next Generation reboot film they're talking about.
Right. Well,
Preferably when he's not stoned out of his tree.
right. We're about to start. In fairness, we'll talk about this on Sunday. I really want CBS to greenlight that War show that Michael Dorn keeps.
But
We've
with
been
Wesley
banging on about
Snipes
that
in
for years. It's never going to happen.
it will with Wesley Snipes instead of Michael Dorn.
Anson Mount got a show because of our show. We said it should happen, and it happened.
Wesley Snipes can thank us with the proceeds of his tax bill.
Oh.
That sounds awfully like proceeds of crime to me, Richard.
Well, are we good to go then, do we think, gents?
I think so. We're countdown from 10.
Yes.
Right,
And then are
James.
we going to roll DT?
James, on your remote control, there's a button that looks like a sort of like a triangle on its side. That's the play button. So when we get to 0, that's the one you push. Okay.
And people can, of course, tell us their thoughts as we're going along in the.
Yeah. Control.
Stick it in the comments. Interact.
Just all of them. All of them. Just.
Just do it on all of them. It's safer that way.
I'll just get your butler to do it. It'd be easier. 10, 9, 8, 7,
Isn't it exciting?
6,
What comes after 6?
5, 2. Hang on, wait. David has only just entered the room. David, are you ready to play?
Oh my god, you can't stop at 2!
All right.
It's not SpaceX.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Play.
Engage.
I prefer the old Paramount mounted. I don't like the new CG one.
Instantly, some, none, or all of the facts that we reveal about Generations as we watch it may be untrue.
Possibly all of them.
Interpretation.
Have you got a list of facts there?
The champagne bottle is actually 2 stories tall for filming purposes, and had to be manhandled for this sequence by 18 dwarves wearing green screen outfits.
They must have been very strong dwarves.
This is why we're not getting a show at any of the conventions.
That looks terribly like the bottle that Marina tried smashing your shuttle up with, James.
Well, she put a dent in it.
What, the bottle or the shuttle?
The shuttle. Have you not seen how hard she hit the thing? I thought the view screen was going to implode.
I thought you was accusing Marina Sirtis of being some sort of alky, you know, like putting a dent in a bottle.
You notice William Shatner is the only actor there to be name-checked by character.
Mm.
In case we thought he was playing someone else, presumably.
And William Shatner as T.J. Hooker.
It is such a great sequence, this bottle flying sequence.
I have to admit, even for its time, when I first saw it, I thought the CG on this particular sequence with the bottle looked a bit cheap.
A bit too shiny.
Yeah, but it didn't. It's interesting with special effects. Anyone who does CG I've ever spoken to about it has said, you know, the worst and the best thing about CGI is that you've got to make it not look like it's CGI, and then their work is complete and perfect. And that's a CGI bottle from start to finish. There's no hiding it, you know. It looks great, but it just doesn't look real.
2265, the vintage of the bottle, is the launch year of the original Enterprise.
Is this a true fact or a fact?
That's a true fact.
No.
The champagne, incidentally, had antifreeze in it, if anyone's wondering why it came out as a liquid in the vacuum of space.
I do like those old red uniforms.
The monster maroon.
I just like the way you can, if in case a colleague is bleeding, you can pull down the white bit and make it look more dramatic and get blood on it.
It's interesting, isn't it? The camera attached to the head that they have the reporters using, and then 20 years later, Google are trialing Google Glass with cameras and AR technology built into it. And how that technology has come on again. It's such an interesting thing.
Anyone notice how Captain Harriman's uniform doesn't actually fit?
Maybe his proper one's coming on Tuesday.
It's one of Jake Sisko's cast-off outfits in the background there.
No, he doesn't like a bus seat.
The detailing on this bridge set, considering it's not as an actual set, it's not used for a great deal of the film. You know, it's really well
it's
done.
the Enterprise A bridge redressed.
Yeah.
But it's still so well done.
Look at all those old CRT monitors.
There's Tuvok.
Do you know what I used to love about the Trek films, especially during the early to mid 90s, was because it was realistically it was before the internet was too widespread around this country. So you went to watch a film not having a clue what was going to happen. It was great.
Absolutely.
Back when it's surprise. I mean, when I'm excited about a film now, the film I might Justice League's out on Thursday, but the one I'm really excited about is Kong versus Godzilla, and I have to purposefully avoid trailers or reading anything, otherwise it ruins it for me. So I have to avoid as much as possible to save it spoiling the film.
Do you think when Harriman's agent rang him up and said, "Look, we got a job for you on Star Trek, and you're going to be captain of the Enterprise," you'd be like, "Oh, that's brilliant," and then you turn out to be the most hated captain of the Enterprise. You know,
Why is he hated? What's wrong with him?
It's not hated necessarily, just completely incompetent.
yeah,
So
it's
on
not
your
his
first
fault.
mission, you killed Starfleet legend Captain James Kirk.
Nothing turned up until Tuesday.
Yeah. And like it says in a minute, to be fair, they weren't supposed to be going out. It was just going to be a quick run around the block.
Now,
As always, someone's in distress. The only ship in range of Earth at all at any given point is the Enterprise that's in the middle of being built. There's no home fleet, there's no rescue services, they're the only ship.
Now, this film, the first 20 minutes of this film, a bit of consumer advice, is a great example of why when you buy a new vehicle, you should take out gap insurance. Because you never know what might happen, okay?
I've never been a fan of the Excelsior class.
Ooh,
No,
First one was
I'm not.
blocky.
controversial.
Even the Enterprise B version, which has all the plantons, it has extra engines and some bulbs around the hull that they stuck on so that they could blow them up and not damage the
Anne-Marie.
Excelsior model beneath. And then the
Maybe-
glue broke it.
Anne-Marie said maybe this time Godzilla wins. There's a lot that's going to be revealed, I think, coming forward. If you watch the Taito movies, which from that comment I think you do, then Godzilla actually normally does win. We'll see.
Perhaps just for a change, instead of Tokyo, he attacks Cleethorpes.
Why would he do that?
Well, he might be bored of Tokyo.
Or Margate.
Yeah, Margate, why not?
Or
He could burn down
Fukushima.
Arlington Towers.
No, it gets to Fukushima. There's nobody there. Just all abandoned.
Three light years, eh? Nearly all the way to Alpha Centauri. And we're still the closest starship.
Paul says he loves how the tape recorders by the media look like label makers.
I do love the old movie era LCARS displays.
In particular, I think the blue and green works well on this set. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
What Kirk is thinking there is, aren't you that bloke out of Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Now, someone has rightly pointed out this was reused in a Voyager episode.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, and they because obviously that's Tuvok, Tim Russ in the background there, minus the years. And wasn't he a kiss ass bringing tea to Sulu, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a flashback, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, who is it that doesn't like this film? Is it you, Richard?
I think it's a perfectly good film. I just think it's a terrible story. It's an appallingly bad story. Megan, if you've only just joined us, we're at 9 minutes. I mean, this film has the perfect. It's got wonderful actors, some great special effects, wonderful sets. It's got everything, really, apart from just a really bad storyline. He only left Space Dock because you told him to.
Harriman is very much out of his depth, isn't he?
I'll just wait for this. What about a lasso? Does anyone know how to can we have someone stand on top of the ship with a lasso and try and...
Is Scotty a captain at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was made captain of engineering in the search for Spock. Yeah, there you go. Captain's insignia.
You know, all these poor people that are going to turn up on Tuesday to finish fixing the ship, they're going to get a hell of a lot more than they bargained for on that worksheet, aren't they?
This wasn't in our estimate, mate.
Yeah.
This is why Richard will tell you, you never buy a demonstrator if you go to a dealership.
Instance of the number 47 there, by the way.
I mean, here we go with the ethical question. Were you better off actually being beamed aboard the Enterprise, or should they just let them all stay in the Nexus? I mean, you know, everyone in there seems perfectly happy, don't they?
Well, they don't know about the Nexus at this point, though, so
No.
the question does not arise.
So here's the other one. If you died in the real world and you were in the Nexus, what happens to you? So if the ship had blown up and they were still on the ship, would they stop existing in the Nexus?
Well, essentially, Kirk dies when he gets the vacuum of space, doesn't he? And he stays in the Nexus.
But this brings about the question of, for instance, rather than blow up a sun, which is, by the way, spoiler if you haven't seen this film before, why doesn't Soren just beam himself into the Nexus from the Klingon ship?
That's
Because
kind
it's
of
a
the
really
point. They
poor
say
story.
You can't play into it, but plainly they do.
It's a bad story.
Photon torpedo.
Yes, I seem to be missing a cake on the top of my head.
Where's the bar?
Chin chin.
just that few seconds there, that's so perfectly played.
Haven't they got any engineers then? Apart from that one.
They report for duty on Tuesday.
Tuvok, where he is? Tuesday.
Who's stoking the boiler to keep the warp engine running?
Apparently, all the steam's escaping in this corridor.
Exactly.
Now, who would design a maintenance craft with a big hole in it with no security handrail or guardrail stop you from falling down?
You ever seen Star Wars?
So here's a fun fact. This is a real fact. And you'll watch out for it after I say this, because it's a weird thing that you'll latch onto. Whenever the turbo lift or compartment doors open in any film or any episode, you'll notice that no actor speaks, because the actual doors are really noisy, and they have to put in the sound effect afterwards. So the actors can't speak at the same time they're putting the doors open, otherwise it bleeds over into their mics, into the boom mics. So always you'll have utter silence whenever a door opens and closes. It's almost like a religious literal. You mustn't speak when the door opens. You know, it's bad luck or something.
Oh, never did.
That's a real fact, not a fact.
Nice use of the main deflector there, everyone.
Gosh, he's heroic, isn't he? Does anyone know why Leonard Nimoy didn't cameo in this? No? Perhaps someone watching can tell us. Alan?
There's a whole scene that got cut at the beginning of Generations where Kirk skydives from orbit, and Chekhov and Scotty are waiting for him on the planet, and you can find it on YouTube in extremely poor quality if you want to look for it.
This is a fact, isn't it?
This is a fact. There was an action figure of Kirk wearing the orbital skydiving outfit, which made no sense when you saw them all released, because you never saw the scene. When they get back to space dock, the engineers say, "Is that all that's left of the ship? You boys are going to lose your deposit."
In other words, he felt there was little point in the character appearing, which is very Leonard, to be fair. My God.
Harriman's in the middle there going, Christ, this is just like the time I sent a Ferrari out of the back of that glass room.
He's going, I've not done enough to ask for 15 quid per autograph convention here. I'm going to be on in the £10 row.
In fact, I'm not sure I'll turn up at the one I'm slated for.
This is a lovely sailing ship.
Now, gentlemen, I'm glad this has come up, so I want to broach this. The next time we all go to a convention, I think we should do a group cosplay with these outfits. What do you
That's not
say,
a bad
chaps?
shout. That is not a bad shout.
They are just a little on the steep side when it comes to having them made.
Well, you say that. If you go on to wish.com, which is where I do most of my shopping because I'm only 5'4", everything I order fits.
But I can't do Hobbit shopping. I have to do fat and tall shopping, which is, a bit
But in all
harder.
seriousness, I mean, how beautiful are they? If we can pull that off, I think that'd be a wonderful group cosplay.
It would.
And obviously, any of our viewers watching that like to participate, please do. We'll all try and get the same material, etc., etc.
Now, when they had the
Well,
meeting,
they are American, though. We could have British ones.
when they had the meeting to plan this movie out, at what point when they were designing it, do you think they turned around to the budget people and said, "Oh, by the way, we need the money for a boat"?
Paul said Eagle Moss have made this ship. They made the cloaked version.
No, it's not cloaked. It's the version just after they've turned the holodeck off.
Wait for it. Carl's going to give us our bleeding piece of facts in a minute.
What about Worf's knee?
Yes.
Just keep an eye on Worf's knee and the blood.
Yes.
What?
I'll just leave it at that. Keep an eye on Worf's knee and the
Something
blood. I'll
befalls
leave it
him
at
beneath the surface. Sharks, probably.
Michael Dorn actually injured himself on doing this scene.
Yeah.
And if you watch carefully, it's as he's climbing back up, isn't it? You can see the blood on his long johns.
It's when he gets knocked back into the water. So he's gone down into the water, he's injured, and as he's coming back out and Crusher gets pushed over, he puts his arm out to save her, and as he goes back into the sea, his leg's covered in blood.
Crusher is the author of her own misfortune here.
Wait for it.
So, are we saying her sword injured his
No.
leg?
No.
No, something prior to that, because it's as he's climbing up into Saskatchewan, you do see both his knees are actually quite badly bleeding.
He's in the water now, he went into the water fine. You watch as he's coming out and he catches her in his arm.
Riker spoils this moment, doesn't he? No women.
Look at his legs.
Oh gosh, that looked like fake blood. Hang on a minute, Klingons have got purple blood.
Yeah.
I disagree. That was perfectly funny. Well done, Data.
Cameo there by Captain Birdseye.
What makes me laugh is half of them are in proper naval uniforms, like Picard and the rest. The rest of them look like Dick Van Dyke and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, in that sort of red with straw hats type.
Anne-Marie said in the comments Patricia Tallman was stunt doubling for Crusher there.
Oh.
Actually, as she fell in, I thought you could tell it was a stunt double, but you had to really look. That's uncanny, her likeness to Gates. It really is. But why do you need a stunt double?
Babylon 5.
But why do you need a stunt double just to fall in some water? Like, come on.
Gates.
Perhaps she can't swim.
Gates, we're going to push you in some water. No, it's not in my contract.
There we have it. The first time the Big D appears on the big screen.
We are such children.
And also, I think you may be a little bit ahead of us, James.
How am I ahead of you? I'm watching the film in real time.
You did something wrong. That's why.
Yeah.
You're at least
Picard's just walking out of the holodeck.
Yeah, Picard's just walking out the holodeck now, mate.
The Enterprise
I'm
team
going to pause
refitted.
it until you catch up to where I am.
Well, where are you?
We're on the bridge, and Picard has said begin an investigation.
Okay, we'll let you know.
I do like the more atmospheric lighting on the bridge in this. It's a bit less jolly and a bit more purposeful, you know.
Oh, look, there's Tracy. Life and soul of the party, that girl, isn't she, Dan?
Yeah.
You ready, James? It's coming up. Have your finger on that play button.
Remember the sideways triangle.
How have I got so far ahead? I started at the same time as you. I must have a
James,
different version.
now, James, now.
Running.
Are you watching it with Turkish subtitles?
Are you watching the director's cut?
Because they do speak very quickly, so perhaps they condensed the film down or sped the film up or something.
Apropos the bridge, you'll notice that there were 6 extra control stations added for the purpose of the film to make it cinematic in scale, and they actually repainted the bridge different colours for cinema palettes.
And
That's got to be a fact.
And there's some
That is a
grab
fact.
handles. There's grab handles near the exits to the server lift.
Yeah. They've added extra detail, basically, to fill up the screen.
Oh my God, Richard, they are the noisiest crisps in the world.
Shit, sorry.
The implausible TNG-style torches there. Who holds a torch like this?
Yeah.
I'll tell you who holds a torch like that. The same idiots that walk around talking on a mobile phone like this in pub. Same people.
I've noticed Americans hold torches, or as they call them, flashlights, like that. As a
Do they
rule,
use
whereas
them for-
we Brits hold them like that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
If
you said
American-
flashlight.
If Americans are watching, why do you call them do you use them for flashing purposes? Sort of flat on and off and on and off. Is it signalling that why you call them flashlights?
And Marie's our
oldest
resident
lamp.
American.
So, who can riddle me the eclectic mix of uniforms that we get in this film, and why we had an odd jump between some people wearing the jumpsuits from DS9 and some wearing the original British crew ones? Can anyone riddle me this?
Basically to do with what fitted who, wasn't it?
Yes,
Kind of,
in
yeah.
any military where they have a change of uniforms, they phase them in gradually.
No. This is a fact, not a fact. They ran out of budget, so they had to borrow what ones fitted, as Carl said, from DS9. I believe I can't remember who. I think Dates is actually.
Ben Sisko's one.
Yeah. Frakes wears Ben Sisko's one, and there's all kinds of
Now,
All
James,
this
there's a
doesn't fit
continuity
properly.
error coming up here. Continuity error for you, James.
The emotion chip
Yeah,
looks nothing
Always.
like when we last saw it.
always bugs me. I mean, look at that. That's huge.
Also, who would keep it in a magnetic field like that? Do they not understand electronics?
That
It
was
looks-
done purely for a toy to sell afterwards that never actually came out, and I was very disappointed in that.
It looks like a giant shreddy.
It does. I want
Well,
one of those
sprinkling
on my
on
shelves behind me, though. That'd look so cool on my shelves.
We could make you one of them. That
Yeah.
wouldn't be hard to do. We could
Please
do
do.
that.
Yeah.
We could do the cloaked version.
It surprises me no one's picked that up as something to make.
I'll be honest with you, it doesn't surprise me that much.
By the way, one of the reasons the TNG uniforms were phased out was because it was felt they weren't detailed enough for the cinema screen. But I think they hold up just fine. Here,
I concur, yeah.
they've always
There's not
been my
enough-
favourite.
There's not enough velour for my liking, but when is there?
Well, they're not made of velour. Picard's lionfish, by the way, is called Livingston. It is not known whether Livingston survives the events of the end of this film.
Got my doubts.
My ship, my crew. I suppose you're worried about your fish too.
The fish he has in there, are they Japanese fighting fish?
No, it's a lionfish.
Lionfish.
I think that is a Japanese fighting fish.
I don't think it is.
No.
I could be, I'm not a
fighting fish
fisherman.
is yay big.
I've only ever fished for carp, so I wouldn't.
Ah.
I did go shark fishing once. That's when I was in Cuba. That's the story.
The Enterprise, the 10 forward looks a bit small here, doesn't it? Maybe because it's so crowded.
This is the pre-rudder to Booze Reviews for Use.
Oh, look what Steven says. Maybe it was a starfish.
Ah,
Oh,
Bravo. He needs a job on this show. He does. With a wit like that, he'll go far.
I reckon he's drinking Baileys.
Looks that way.
do you know, in this film, once you start looking for Tracy Lee Coco, you can't stop seeing her.
No, she's in every scene, isn't she? She
All
just
over
keeps
the show.
popping up. Have
We
you
should
guys
get
met
her
her
on the
before?
show.
Have you guys met her, by the way?
Yes,
Is she
Everybody
pleasant,
says
is
she's great
she?
fun.
she's
Lively.
good fun.
How did you meet her?
She kept coming and requesting songs when Dan was DJing at the last EST.
Oh, that bird, was it? She was an odd fish, wasn't she?
See, she did that thing that, as a nightclub DJ, you don't like certain customers. I don't like customers who are, I know the manager, or you will play my request. I don't like the, I'm a guest, you will play my request customers when I'm at events, to be honest. But it was a good song, so I sort of let her off. It was Lobster Rock by the B-52s, was the song that she kept demanding.
I didn't even know she was.
Requesting.
She was there as a guest. What, signing autographs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did.
Soren here is using his Elorian talents for evil.
Tracy did a during the last virtual TrekCon, I think it was. I watched a bit of a makeup session with her. That was quite entertaining, where they were doing the whole prosthetics, because she's played a load of different aliens as well as
Yeah.
being able to recognise it on screen. She's done loads of stuff in Trek.
Do you know, Virtual TrekCon has got to be one of my favourite online Star Trek convention things.
Absolutely. They had the wise and foresight to get the top UK streaming talking Trek show to do
Very
it.
true. And have you ever noticed how smiley that Anne-Marie lady is? Like, she never stops smiling. Ever.
To say she's extremely pretty as well. Now, that's not strictly speaking appropriate to say these days, but she is.
Wow, you can't say things like that. You'll get us taken off the air.
That's a tricorder?
Oh, sorry, Anne-Marie. We didn't know you were in the audience.
Oh, hi. Hey, how we doing?
Evening, Anne-Marie.
I wonder what happened to her eyebrows.
Sorry, was the nuclear inhibitor a hint to what's happened to the Romulan star in 2009's film?
Maybe.
Because Soren's got eyebrows, but Guinan doesn't. And I thought it was a species thing.
Oh, now Data's transferred into a DS9 uniform.
Watch out for the original series control panels littering this laboratory, by the way.
I've already noticed the navigation one. The yellow with the red arc across it.
Yes, it was just down on the bottom left there, wasn't it?
It was.
This scene is blatantly, right then, set people, go to the skips around the back of the TNG set. Anything that's in there, just drag it in and throw it around.
All of us, of course, want to know what the beginning of that joke was.
And the trouble is, if it's years since you've watched Farpoint, after this you would go back and watch it to find out what the joke is, but it isn't there. Don't waste your time.
Okay, here's the annoyance. So Geordie says, "Oh, there's a door here. I can see the separation line with my visor."
Yeah.
Well, surely. And the thing that always annoyed me is Data's got the magic arm that can open the door, and he's essentially a walking tricorder. So why couldn't he see the door?
Mr. Tricorder!
Why does Data need a tricorder? He should have all of the tricorder functions built into him.
But he doesn't necessarily have the same sensory vision as Geordie. Geordie sees multiple different types of spectrums at once, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he can't see through lead.
What do we think of Star Trek New Worlds?
Do you mean Strange New Worlds? Don't know.
It's not out
seen
yet. I don't know.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be good fun.
Yes,
Bye
everything about it
Fabio.
looks good so
It's
far.
gone. Right.
That globe in front of them there that was just on screen, that looked exactly like the death probes off James Bond Moonraker.
It also looked like
That's the prop shop.
It also looked like the dome for taking over Picard's mind if you're a daemon and you want to return the Stargazer.
Mr. Tricorder!
There it is again. Yeah, that is definitely the Moonraker death probe.
Well, we've all had days where the emotion chip has overloaded our positronic relay, haven't we?
I mean, even now, he's a better Joker than Jared Leto, isn't he?
Joe, I love. There's a line that Geordie says then, which is, "Dr. Soren, there seems to be a damping field." What? Surprise in the hidden room that you had to open with Data's arm that you're not meant to be in? Oh.
But he's making this huge song and dance about it. Oh, I can't get through to him. Step back outside that door 3 foot away that you came in from. You'll be fine. Don't worry. You don't need to. You're right by the door. Just back up.
And your crackerjack Starfleet transporter chief hasn't gone, hang on, we've lost their signal.
Yeah.
We better send someone else over.
You got to remember at this time, the decent transporter chief has left and he's now on Deep Space Nine, so...
Everyone seen the cartoons of Chief O'Brien at work? Frame after frame after frame of him just stood there.
So they really highlight have you seen, although there's more than that, have you seen the ones where he phones home to see how they're doing in his quarters without him and Riker's there? With Keiko doing some push-ups. They're brilliant. Absolutely superb.
In Picard, there was that lovely scene where Picard has kept his communicator in the box. And there was a little part of me that was disappointed it wasn't his TNG communicator, you know, the round one. Opposed to this new one.
It's his last one before he retired.
Yeah.
Oh no, my beer has developed a fault. I better go and find one that works.
Oof.
Oh, what a terrible
James,
thing.
we can't pause it. Just
Don't
Carry on
pause
without me.
We will. Must not say something sarcastic. Must not say something sarcastic. Must not say something sarcastic.
Is that one of the USS Excelsior teacups on his desk behind him there? The ones
Looks
that we
like
weren't
it.
quick enough to get hold of.
So Patrick, if you're watching this is a beautiful scene. It's just we've seen it so many times we now pick up on things like teacups in the background.
And also wondering why in the 24th century nobody had fire alarms or smoke detectors or, you know.
What are you drinking there, James? Is it Coors?
Coors Light, yes. Because it's a school night.
Yeah.
Coors Light for the man who's not brave enough to have a real beer.
It's a refreshing morning drink, I find.
Beer is so much more than just a breakfast drink.
I believe Anne-Marie has just said about your beer. It's just so sad.
Well, I'm barely recovered from the margarita or galactic margarita hangover from yesterday.
I tell you, that Romulan ale will be the death of you, James.
That wasn't yesterday, James. That was Sunday.
Yeah.
My hangover was yesterday.
James is taking every advantage of the fact that we still have to socially isolate in this country by managing to lock himself in his office and doing day drinking because no one's coming in to check on him.
I frankly am perfectly happy to stay under lockdown. I love it. Not having to go
I
and
have
see
to
people is
admit,
great.
it's as you guys know, I struggle socially because I don't like people in general, and I've been finding it. I'm a bit pissed off I can't get to the gym or get to the dojo, but apart from that, I've quite enjoyed it. I've watched a lot of Star Trek.
I've done a lot of additional learning, which is nice. I spent all my time doing like courses and stuff because I'm getting paid.
I mean, I've rewatched some of my favourite Trek episodes. I managed to watch all of Discovery. I didn't quite manage all the Lower Decks. Unfortunately, I had some mildew that I had to tackle in the bathroom.
Look at the shockwave expanding at light speed towards the ship that we can see.
you see Tracy coming in there? She was like, "Oh, mate, you're in my seat."
If you think about it, Wesley Snipes would make a great Worf because he can do all the martial arts and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe we can get him on a scene with Steve Guttenberg.
I'm not honestly. There's a very good chance that Wesley Snipes will be cast to play Worf in the TNG reboot film.
No, there's much better.
Very good chance.
There's much better options for playing.
Like
Worf.
who? Because you want someone who's going to do some martial arts. Who would make a better Worf than Wesley Snipes? Come on. Oh,
Graham Norton.
no, stupid boy. Who's the chappie in the new Rocky films that's slated to play the first Black Superman?
Oh, I know what you mean. I can't think of his
Yeah,
name.
he's a really good actor, and he's like buff as like you wouldn't believe. He'd make a good Worf, to be fair. So Alan's pointed out, for some reason, that beer without alcohol is like sex without a partner. Possible, but why? Alan, you haven't been married for as long as I have.
Mrs. Richard, we do love you.
You noticed how that phaser shot that Worf takes
Like,
then?
it's not alcohol free. It's 4%.
Normally, Worf's phaser shots are dead like manly and masculine, like or with the rifle like this, and that one was like, oh,
Worf's a proper sissy in that scene. Yeah.
yeah, totally out of character.
Come on, man. Get in
Wesley
there.
Snipes would have got his sword out and flipped and done whatever.
You're not having Wesley Snipes as Worf. It's not allowed.
Love the way as well.
Brilliant.
Love the way as well there. Whoever's at the helm there, there's a shockwave flying in towards the ship. Captain, they're aboard. Helm, warp 1, engage. Yeah, no urgency whatsoever.
Maybe it's on Windows 7, and if you push it too quick, it doesn't. Yeah, so you've got to. The response. Yeah.
time.
Yeah, he's left the
God,
ship
I-
pointing directly at the wave to start with, just for fun.
I actually had a support call I had to deal with today with some absolute dickwad who was still using Windows 7, and I was just like, well, that's your problem there. Well, can't you help me? I was like, no, there is no helping you.
Hold on, didn't you tell me that James? But you've been doing some support for James today.
I'm running Windows 95.
Actually, Windows 98 is pretty good.
James,
Windows XP.
98 is a bigger number than 7. It's better.
Oh. Mention of Kirk coming up.
The question is, if you look at the picture, the screen where she's got Soren's biography going up, and the next to it there's some life signs going along, well, there's nobody on any of the bio beds.
Crusher likes to replay life signs that she's a fan of. It's kind of a hobby. It's like I collect interesting regulations.
I have to say, both of these Klingon women, I do fancy quite a lot. But I was going to point out that I figured out what happened to Guinan's eyebrows. They've been stolen. They've been stolen by the Duros sisters, and added to their own eyebrows to make like a super eyebrow.
We will add your eyebrows to our own. We will add your cultural distinctiveness. Your eyebrows will be assimilated.
I mean, I wonder why she shaved off her eyebrows for the role. I mean, do you think it was a happy accident? I remember when I worked for Land Rover, I burnt my entire beard off and my eyelashes and my eyebrows. Do you think perhaps on like her first day of filming, she had a happy accident and said, "Oh, actually, no, that works. We'll go eyebrowless for this because it's alien."
Duct tape.
Or do you think she thought, "Do you know what? I'm just going to shave him off for this"? It's a question we should ask her.
Well, let's get her on the show.
Well, I'm fairly certain she does. She's eyebrowless for the entire TV series, isn't she? She's no eyebrows in that.
I've got to admit, I never noticed. I wasn't looking.
Really? She's got a permanently surprised look without eyebrows.
Oh, Richard. What we were talking about pre-stream, it's just popped into my head. 257.4, I think. Don't
Is that
know
the
why.
punchline to a joke he told you 7 years ago?
No.
Richard, I've just been figuring out who I would like to be playing Worf if they do a reboot. Anthony Mackie played Falcon in the Marvel movies.
Oh, I don't know. In the nicest way, I know I'm not the tallest man in the world. I'm only 5'9", but he's not big enough to make a convincing. You need someone with a bit taller to make a convincing claim.
Oh, what about him that plays Luke Cage?
Oh,
that was shit. But I know the actor you mean.
Good shout on the actor now. Anyway, back to the movie.
No, I don't think he's a good enough actor. To be honest with you.
oh! I'll tell you who. LeVar Burton. He could play.
Yeah, yeah. He'd make. Oh, John Cheadle. Yes.
Right.
He would make a good.
Why has Soren wrapped his belt around LeVar's neck in this scene?
I'm still in the quarters with Picard and Guinan.
Oh, right, okay,
Just switched over now to the Bird of Prey.
All right, I'm a bit further.
Yeah. Why
Hang
are
on.
you watching the
You
Turkish
must be
one?
watching different versions. I've got the Enterprise on the screen at the moment. What's going on?
What are you doing? How are you seeing
I
into
just got
the
once for you
future?
guys to catch up with me. I don't understand.
James is obviously watching
Ship flies past.
some rubbish cut of it. That's what it is.
LeVar Burton's there, like saying, "Should I say the safe word or not?" I'm enjoying it, but
Thank you, Paul. Yes, John Cheadle.
yeah, John Cheadle's a good shout. He'd make a great. He's a really, really good actor as well. And he's tall enough. He can pad out the rest.
Have you got the ship yet?
We're on the Bird of Prey.
I'm like a full minute or so ahead of you. I don't understand how this has
Because
happened.
you're watching it in
We've synchronised.
Turkish.
James, are you watching the DVD version?
Yes.
Ah, we're watching the theatrical version.
Well, I've only got the DVD available. You're watching it on Plex, are you?
No, because that would be illegal.
I'm watching a legal copy that I own.
Right, the Enterprise is on screen now.
Right, resuming.
We're in stellar cartography.
Not yet, we're not.
I am.
I'm
For
not.
heaven's sake, what's going on here?
Right, now we're in stellar cartography.
I'm not.
I'm
I am now.
Me and you are the closest then, Richard.
You mean you and I are right?
Stick with us, dear viewer.
So the stellar cartography here. Do we think that this was the inspiration for what they did with Voyager and Seven's lab, where she
I
had?
reckon so.
Because I think this is a wonderful, wonderful set. It's beautiful.
I think
Maybe
this
as
set
a
was
header point.
stolen by Patrick Stewart for X-Men. Eventually,
As Professor X's thing. You'll notice Patrick Stewart's uniform there has a belt. He's got a DS9 style, but in two pieces.
and as far as you if you
Is
look at the
that because
back,
he's a bit? Is it because he's a bit older and needs to go to the toilet more often?
there's a scene when if you look at the scenes looking at the back of Picard and Data, Picard's uniform is absolutely massive. It must be Avery Brooks. It's huge.
No, I think Frakes is wearing Avery Brooks's one.
Yeah, Frank's had over. Well, to be fair, they could have shared them between the two of them.
Well, I think actually they did make some DS9 style for the TNG cast, but they only made a couple, like Picard's one, which again you can see his belt there, but it's a different cut to the others. but most of them were borrowed from DS9. Oh, the Bozeman there. The Bozeman has altered course, searching for some tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Yes.
Yes, we all want that, Paul. Don't necessarily get it.
This is a scene where Data's essentially trying to pull a sickie at work, and Picard's like, "You're not sick. You're not going home. Man up."
I'd be like, just brush your teeth with some WD-40 and get on with it.
Have a work ethic. Have a work ethic and get back to work. You are a machine. Oh no, hold on. That one's been already argued.
Is Data out of warranty?
You can hear Picard's voice inside. He's like, "You carry on like this, I'm going to let Maddox take you to pieces."
So someone said Whoopi shaves her eyebrows in real life. Okay. It wasn't a choice for the character then.
Right.
I think I've only seen 2 other films with Whoopi Goldberg in. I'm trying to remember if she was eyebrowed or not. She was in a really good one called Jumping Jack Flash. And another one I can't remember the name of, where she was a pool shark, actually, that sounds like it'd be crap, but it was really good. I can't remember if she...
Well, that's Sistract. That's what we go there, Phil.
I've not seen that one. But I'm sure Alan can tell us if she was eyebrowed or not in any of those films.
Yes, why not fly into it with a ship?
Why doesn't Picard ask the computer instead of Data?
Yes.
Just... Why would he do that instead of just beaming into it? It just doesn't make any sense. You googled it. What's the film with her as a pool shark then?
So now, Anne-Marie, when the CIA are making a profile of you, there'll be a little paragraph that says, likes Whoopi Goldberg films.
And eyebrows.
Oh, great shot there. Picard storming out of stellar cartography.
Haven't seen it yet, but I'll look forward
I was
to
going
it.
to say, you're ahead of us again.
What?
How are you doing this?
Well, I'm not on the bird of prey. I'm going to pause. Soren's just walked through a door. Tell me when that happens for you.
Well, the Enterprise is just about to go to warp for us.
In CGI.
Right, we're on the bird of prey, but he's not come in yet. Now,
You see, I've got like nearly 30 seconds ahead of you again.
James, so the play button is the single triangle. Multi-triangle is, you can DVDs you can watch at different speeds. So if
I'll
you
tell you what
press...
I'm doing. I'm watching First Contact.
I'll tell you what, if this gets a lot of views. This old watch-along thing. Maybe we should do one again, like next month. We'll do one a month on these watch-alongs and get people a chance to watch another film.
Oh, let's watch Airplane.
I was thinking a Trek film.
Oh yeah. Probably that's
Galaxy
better.
Quest.
Yeah, better call. I watched Galaxy Quest not so long ago.
Let's watch Star Trek 5.
Fantastic.
Let's have a vote.
All in favour of watching Star Trek 5 next month? Raise your hands. Carried.
No.
Excuse me. 2 of us and
Yeah.
Paul. That makes a majority, okay?
Shocking.
Star Trek 5.
Class Starship.
See, 257.4.
Oh, you're thinking of the shield frequency.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the stream started, and it had popped out of my head. It's a bit like trying to remember Reliance prefix code from Star Trek 2.
16309.
Well done.
Like most Trek fans, I had that as a pin for a number of years.
Mrs. Dillon, we're very sorry that James can remember that, but not your anniversary, okay?
3rd July 2010.
Paul Simons is now trying to back out of watching Star Trek 5, but I've got it on film that he said yes. So
Well, of course, Paul, we're not going to send someone around to check that you're watching it.
Aren't we?
You notice, by the way, that Worf, for the purposes of this film only, gets a seat.
Yeah.
He hurt his knee right at the start. I reckon that's probably got something to do with it. Both knees.
He's obviously spent the previous 7 years staring at the top of Patrick Stewart's head.
now, Paul, interestingly, Wales has said that non-essential retail can reopen from the 22nd of March. So if you were to start selling popcorn in your home cinema, we could almost consider that non-essential retail and come and buy some off you in person. Yeah. Just saying. And then we could watch Star Trek 5 together. Hello, Chris Allsop. How you doing, buddy? How's the life with baby and all the rest of it?
Yeah, it's evening, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Nurse Ogawa and Beverly Crush are there together. Interviewed by us at the Rikers Beard about 4 years ago.
Wesley Snipes would have fallen a lot more dramatically than that.
And it's bizarre how he had the strength to stand up long enough to have the transport initiated, but as soon as it was complete, no, too much.
That's all to do with the annular confinement beam.
Ah.
I've got to assume that's something I've said, and I apologise for it. Nice to have you back, Barry.
Well said, Paul.
Now, here are the Klingons in their cinema room.
Again, you're way ahead of us, James.
Way ahead again, James.
Way
now
ahead.
they're
What? I
now
don't
they're just
understand.
coming into it.
They're looking at Beverly on the screen.
Just about to.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
This is my favourite bit where they see Gates and they go, "Ugh!"
Yep.
Love it.
we're talking about strange places to go and watch Star Trek films, we're going to go to Paul's to watch one. Maybe we can all go to America and watch one with Anne Marie in Times Square on one of those big TV screens. I'm sure there must be a way to sort of jack into one.
I've often thought, there's that hotel stroke pub near me in Botany Bay called the Botany Bay.
Oh, yeah,
I've often thought we should... The Botany Bay, we should screen Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan on the cliffs, because they're white cliffs, obviously, down on Botany Bay, and we'll take a portable power pack, and we'll have a viewing session at the Botany Bay.
Sounds like a plan.
I think that'd be a wonderful idea. Google it.
Now, as you're on the south coast,
yeah,
and I think I've said this before, if we're going to do this idea, do we turn on the French subtitles so the French who are on the other side can watch and understand what's going on?
No.
No.
Terrible.
No. But we could have it. It's a lovely hotel. It would be. It's a really nice restaurant and hotel, and it's a lovely beach. It'll be a good event. Would have to be in the summer though, is the only thing, which means the film would have to start quite late. So someone will have to prod me to wake me up.
Maybe we could get some fireworks, and every time there's some sort of explosion and or phasers, we could let fireworks off to make the added noises and stuff.
Yeah,
Sure
could do.
Get some lasers.
Oh, if we're going to do that, Star Trek 6. Evening, Mark. How you doing? Welcome along. It is the Great Big Huge Star Trek Generations watch along.
Mark, if you want to join in, or any other latecomers, we're currently at 1 hour and 5 minutes, apart from James, who's just watching the end credits.
He's about to start Into Darkness. He's done all the other TNG films.
I was watching an episode of Lower Decks a little earlier called
Why?
Crisis Point. And they're sort of in the holodeck doing a movie version of themselves, and everything has got JJ lens flare.
Yeah.
They go onto their bridge and you can barely see. Gosh, look at all these people on the bridge. It's a bit claustrophobic with that many people.
Go on, Carl. Say your interesting fact.
My interesting fact? Not yet. James is already well past it, and we're still watching it.
We're doing the song now.
Everyone has to join in.
You precious little life forms. Where are you?
So, look at everyone's reactions there. Okay. Those are genuine reactions, because Brent Spiner there is ad-libbing. None of that is in the script.
Now look at George's sleeves here. Look, that uniform doesn't fit at all.
We're not there yet, James.
He's got cold meanies.
Not there yet, James.
We're waiting to see if my memory's right about the shield frequency.
Gosh, yes, look at his sleeves.
257.4.
He bloody borrowed his dad's jumpsuit there.
And that looked very suspiciously like a Bajoran pad, not a Federation pad.
257.4 megahertz.
Woohoo!
So, dear viewer, there's your next pin. Downscope.
Yeah.
I love the way Klingons still use a periscope.
Yeah.
No shit, Sherlock.
Lieutenant Commander Obvious, do your job. Oh, it's not fair, is it, Worf? They finally give you a stool and then they blow the ship up.
That's why he sulks and threatens to leave Starfleet.
A significantly inferior ship.
Oh, we got LaForge's version of Indiana Jones coming up as well, haven't we?
Yeah,
he loved rolling under that hatch, didn't he?
It would have been much better if his visor had come off and he reached back and grabbed it. That'd been brilliant. Yeah.
What gets me is, of all the scientists and engineers on that bridge, it was the first officer that came up with a way of solving the problem.
Oh, look at that bloke getting blown across the bridge and taking out the
He hasn't done yet.
This scene is... Oh, I'm a bit more in front than you are. It's a very Star Trek 6 scene. When the... In fact, is it a recycled piece?
It is the exact footage.
Yes.
Yeah, from Star Trek 6.
How do you think they did that stunt? Do you think it was a wire and they yanked him, or a trampoline job?
No, it was a springboard.
Trampoline job, yeah. Do you think he was a real acrobat?
I love the way throughout all this, there's not even an attempt for evasive manoeuvres.
When you say, was he a real acrobat? Is that like when you lie on your CV and you put, like, I like to read books? When the reality is you haven't picked up a book up for ages, or, special skills, I like to help the elderly. It's one of those lies on your CV.
I do a lot of work for charity, mate. Charity, don't like to talk about it.
Do you know, when I used to go sift through CVs, the amount of people that used to put socialising as a hobby, it's like, really? Going out with my friends, it's like, no, lie.
So in a slight breach of GDPR, but I'll explain this in a second. So we're recruiting in work at the moment for somebody, and I've got all the CVs and I've brought them home, and I've got the lovely lady wife to help me read through them, which is obviously you're not meant to do that. And I had a man who'd put his picture on the CV in the top corner. He had his mugshot, and he looked very... I was like... Ooh.
I did that. I used to have a picture on my CV so people could see how handsome I was.
Terrible.
That got me a job. But when I used to sift through that, I was always astonished because if you've done it, you literally just do it into piles, and you one side, and then the amount of people who put socialising with my friends as a hobby, it's like, what, you go out on the piss? Yeah. It's like, find something decent to lie about, for God's sake, ornithology or rock climbing, or
Okay, and another pro tip to people if you are applying for jobs and you're writing your CV up, just put your last 2 jobs. Do not put your entire life history of jobs all the way back to when you left school, because when you get to page 7 of the jobs you've done, I've lost interest at this point. Okay,
that's when you're wondering why you've had so many jobs.
Under the door?
Sorry, James.
Has everyone seen Geordie just roll under the door?
Yet,
there?
no.
Not yet. He's about to.
What?
We're in the middle of a coolant leak.
Oh, right. When you get to the teddy bear, let me know.
The what?
The teddy bear.
He's just gone under the door now. Teddy bear.
Prepared to separate the ship. Shouldn't they see a mediator first?
Well, who among our many, or both of our viewers, feels that the Enterprise D was needlessly lost in this sequence? That they've managed to save it through 7 years, and they just threw it away in this film.
I have to say, I think the special effects shot of the saucer section crashing is brilliant. And I think it's brilliant because it wasn't CG. They built the models and they did it, and it looks fantastic. Teddy bear now.
Yep.
And
12
somebody
feet wide.
somebody bought
model
it recently, didn't they? The model.
Yeah,
That's not the one he used for the crash.
It was in someone's garage.
the paintwork on it. If you look at the replica prop forum, it's mainly duck egg blue. It doesn't look the colour you imagine the Enterprise D to be at all.
No. Isn't one of the main reasons they crashed it was because the actual, like the arrangement of the model of the Enterprise D, it was very much for TV format. As in the.
Well, I think cinematically
dimensions of the
it
ship.
has certain angles. It looks astonishing from it. It has certain angles which just looks clumsy. I think it's a beautiful looking ship. I mean, I love the Enterprise E. Don't get me wrong, but the D I always felt went before its
It's a
time.
very different. It's a very different ship, though, isn't it? We were talking about when it was Talk Trek the other day about how the Enterprise D was completely unique because it was a unique storyline it was built along. The Federation had an unprecedented area of peace, and it was a family ship. It was bring your dog to work day every day. It was, a completely unique experience. To be honest with you, I'm hoping they go back to it. I hope they come full circle and have that again.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Now, the lesson we learned from Generations is don't let Troy drive, because look what happens in Nemesis.
She crashes that ship too.
Yes.
In all fairness, she was under orders to crash that ship.
It makes you wonder how on earth she gets insurance to drive anything.
They just don't put her down as a named driver.
Have you had any claims in the last 10 years? Wow.
Report! We're in the ship!
Now, I'm just a little bit ahead. I'm always amazed at Soren's magically moving up and down Disruptor. It's so unnecessary.
I'm convinced that Playmates brought out a light and sound version of his Disruptor.
They did.
I've never
they?
actually seen one. I'm sure they did, but I've never seen it.
I'm sure I had one.
I seem to recall it when I was a teenager, but I don't think I've ever actually come across one. Let me have a nosy on the old Bay of E.
Oh, here comes the saucer.
I'm always sure they did.
In the TNG technical manual, there's a whole section on emergency landing the saucer, and it's meant to sort of do a banking maneuver, like an S shape to slow itself down. And we were all a little disappointed that that didn't actually happen in the film. And it just comes down in a shallow glide and does this. Someone drop the anchor.
Now, there is somebody's got an article with the Disruptor on the RPF, and it looks like it's been like a 3D printed thing. And the more I look at it, the more it looks like a creme brulee torch.
That's a great shot where it hits the dirt and all the dirt flies up. It's amazing.
Now it's surfing along.
Yeah.
Oh, roof beams coming down.
It's like that episode of Voyager, where they crash into the ice.
Yeah.
Except in that episode, if you remember, like decks 10 through 8 are now deck 7, or because it compressed down. Whereas this stays relatively intact.
It's when they look up at the smashed dome over the bridge, you go, oh, that's it. That's the end of the Enterprise. That's tragic, that sequence, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to buff out that, is it?
Oh, Worf, get up. That's a scene to see at the cinema, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember it distinctly and being so impressed with it.
I mean, you can see the steam cut off it. With an atmospheric entry like that, it would be amazingly hot, I imagine. You know, because like space things these days land in the ocean, and part of that is to cool it off so that the astronaut can come out quite unscathed and not burn themselves.
Well, it's more that you've got somewhere to land without hitting anything, and it's a soft landing.
Soft landing.
Oh yes, Paul, it's definitely a model, and genuinely I think that's why I like this so much. It's a classic VFX shot. It just looks wonderful.
So tell me, James, your build-it-yourself Enterprise D bridge, did it look accurate to that close-up that we just got there? I would render an opinion myself, but, I'm still waiting for mine.
Well, you don't see it from the inside.
Why
No, but
not?
there was a lovely
Can't you
external
hold it
shot.
up and look at it?
James, when you finish building the Enterprise D with its detachable saucer, can we take it to the beach and crash it into the sand?
No. We could build a 12-foot wide saucer section just for fun and crash it into the sand.
No.
Richard could stand underneath it and run along.
About 4 foot in, you'd start complaining that there's nowhere to store it, and it's raining when you're building it.
Do you know what?
Look,
Do you know
these are
what the
problems
other thing that
faced
strikes
people
me?
who make props.
I want to point out a further plot hole with this bad storyline.
Go on then.
And it's, so we go into the Nexus, and Picard uses the Nexus to prevent all the bad things from happening. But Soren's in there as well, so why doesn't he then counter Picard while he's in there to get what he wants?
Well, because he doesn't get back in, does he? Because when Picard comes back out, he stops Soren getting in the first place.
But then Soren was in so he could stop Picard from
because
getting back in the first place.
All that stuff that you see isn't happening in the Nexus. It's when you leave the I think Guinan even says when you leave, you can go anywhere.
I see.
So he actually does come back.
No, it makes sense now. It's just really bad writing. Yeah.
And also, I mean, it's like the end of Back to the Future, where Marty goes back to try and save the Doc, and he only gives himself 15 minutes or something. Picard could just go back to the beginning of the film and tell himself what Soren's plan is, and not even have to have the fight. He can just arrest him straight away. He doesn't need Kirk's help. He can just go and tell himself.
When you go and talk to him in 10 forward and he's not ready for it, just smack him.
Let's be honest, I like
Job
Malcolm.
done.
I do like Malcolm McDowell, but he doesn't fit the role in this. He's not a sinister villain. He's not scary or anything. He's not imposing.
Go back in
As Star
time.
Trek villain goes, he's very weak.
Get Guinan to do that ninja thing.
Yeah, claw.
Do you know the other thing that strikes me is, though, in this film, Picard's an absolute wuss in this film, isn't he? Left, right and centre, he's getting the crap kicked out of him. But then in the next film, he takes on the Borg Queen. He's like an action hero for the next few films.
Look, Picard's fantasy is to live in Victorian era with a Crusher look-alike.
And 5 children.
At Christmas.
His son Rene, or uncle, nephew even, Rene, is named after Rene Artois from Allo Allo.
Is that one of those facts?
That's a fact.
Ah.
Fact.
You stupid woman! Can you not see I am comforting this poor serving girl?
Good morning.
I have a message for you.
Tis I, Leclerc.
Oh, Annie.
My ticky-ticker!
My ticka.
Hello!
My favourite was always when Helga used to snog Herr Fleek and he would go, "That was most satisfying."
You may stop kissing me.
Von Smallhausen, avert your eyes.
Yes, Herr Fleek.
Yes, Herr Fleek.
On Schwalhausen, this is most unfortunate. The
If you are watching along with us and you are from France or Germany, we are, of course, in the greatest of jest.
What a mistake it'll make her.
It's the Italian with the dead chicken on his head.
What are you, a man or a demise?
Beautiful ladies. Beautiful ladies with legs.
Clarence, bring around the little tank.
This is little tank.
Oh no, that's Lieutenant Gruber. He fancies me.
General von Klinkerhofen.
We are not getting invited to the German Star Trek convention, are we?
Make way for General von Krakenfart.
Fallen Madonna with the big boobies.
Bye bye, Klump.
And where did they hide the dynamite? In the sausages, of course.
I went to get beer. Are we still doing hello, hello?
No, I'm afraid we're past that now, James. The moment has been and gone, been and gone.
Listen very carefully. I shall say this only once.
We are now doing Faulty Towers.
Oh. Did anyone mention the war yet? It's a forgery of the painting of the fallen Madonna painted by Lieutenant Gruber, which is hidden in the Knockwurst hanging in the cellar of the chateau.
Okay, and for your bonus points, who can tell me the names of the 2 British airmen?
Oh.
Yes, this
Carstairs and
me.
Fairfax.
God, top marks that man.
Hello!
Hello!
I don't know what he's talking about, speaking bally French.
And if you're German and you want to learn to speak English, what does the gramophone play at you? Fa 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 fa.
Oh, James T. Kirk.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I forgot we were
God.
watching the film. There he is.
No, he's not
Where are
yet.
you
He's
then?
not.
James, no, we're like 10 minutes away from that.
Well, where are you now?
Hey, well, again, if we've got this pronunciation wrong, how are you doing?
I always
Now
rather
we've got
liked
Kirk on screen.
Shatner's waistcoat here.
What is the thing at the top of his waistcoat where his button should be? Is it some sort of medal?
No, it's a button that's just hiding the zip.
Do you guys watch Downton Abbey?
Yes.
No.
No.
So it's amazing, and those Dan and Carl just have to not appreciate this. But the funniest thing that happened in Downton Abbey
It
is
is
when
set in the north, by the way. You might like it.
it is set in the north, and when his lordship, when World War One breaks out, his lordship, although he's not going to war, comes down to breakfast wearing his army uniform, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And his wife just rolls the eyes like. And I'm just thinking, why is Kirk at home at his lodge cutting wood in his Starfleet uniform? Wouldn't he be wearing like some jeans and a waistcoat? You know, it's just like,
It's what he was wearing when he ended up in the Nexus. That's the significance of it.
but in the Nexus you can be whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. So why is he wearing a Star Trek uniform?
Well, Picard is still wearing his. It's just what he identifies with. If you look very closely in Kirk's kitchen, you'll see the Enterprise commissioning plaque from the original Enterprise, as well as a picture of it hanging on the wall.
And the batleth.
And indeed a batleth.
Anne-Marie says maybe it's because it's what Antonia's into.
Could be, yeah.
Why does he give her a horseshoe?
Is that a horse or a dog?
That's.
Seriously, that dog's head is the same size as my dog before he passed away last year.
But your dog wasn't especially big.
No, he's a miniature dachshund. He had a big heart.
Well, let's face it, though, this whole bit from here on in, this is what everyone had been waiting for, what, 7-8 years by this point, to see these two captains on screen at the same time.
Yeah. And it was very uneventful.
It was. It was nice they'd figured out a way to do it. It would have just been... Could have been better, but...
Has no one ever told Kirk you don't use metal implements inside a non-stick pan?
Well, it's 23rd century tech for him.
It's Qatari and eggs to soften the blow. Obviously, he's planning on playing some mind games with her. Oh.
Watching Picard whip those eggs is like that episode of DS9 when Odo's got the bowl and moves the bowl rather than the whisk.
If Kelsey Grammer had come in here, he could have scrambled those eggs, couldn't he?
He could.
It's Downton Abbey. Look, he's preparing a tray.
Oh. I was out saving the galaxy while your grandfather was still in diapers.
Not there yet.
No,
British
Jane.
viewers, diapers is an American term for nappy. I've got Picard marching up the stairs looking cross. Where are you?
Almost at that point.
Right, when he walks into Kirk's bedroom, let me know. I've paused again.
Okay.
James, 5, 4, 3.
No. No. Now he's walking up the stairs looking angry.
Now he's upstairs.
What?
And he's about to walk in. There we go. Now he's in the stable.
I don't understand
It's
how.
a funny place to. It's a funny place to sleep. That
It is really, isn't it?
I wouldn't have a stable upstairs in my cabin. I'd have it on the ground floor, possibly in a barn. I mean, I'm not a horse person. I don't know how these things are done, but it seems a bizarre place to keep a stable to me.
Now we know, of course, that Picard is a keen horseman.
He has his own saddle.
Keeps his own saddle aboard, yes.
The soundtrack to this bit's wonderful, isn't it? One of the best parts of this film is the soundtrack suite.
Yeah.
It's truly cinematic. Wow, look at that vista.
So, a real fact, not a fact. Both these horses in this shot are owned by Shatner. They used his horses. The specific reason why, I don't know, but possibly they filmed it near his ranch and his horses happened to be there and he was comfortable riding one without a helmet and therefore they could insure him. I would think was probably the main reason.
Claire has just put Picard may be an avid horse person, but it's not sadly evident in his riding. And Claire has a picture of a horse in her thing, so probably knows about horses.
Why not? He's on the horse. The horse is moving.
Is the right
What
way
else
up?
what else is required?
I actually quite like this bit, though, where Kirk jumps back over and then Picard catches him up. It's a very Kirk way of him realising that none of this is real.
Well, Shatner is a very accomplished rider.
But yeah, I think the character bit here, they got Kirk spot on with this, you know, because none of
I
the
don't see
excitement, none of the danger, and it's like, that's a very Kirk way of knowing that it's not real.
I don't see what Sir Patrick's doing wrong on that horse. He's astride it, it's moving.
He's riding it like he's riding an American cruiser motorbike. His legs are very forward. Like, you know, he's like that, and his legs are very forward too. It's like how you'd ride a Harley.
That's how he's comfortable. On
It's
the
almost
horse.
like the foot bits are a bit short for him. Like his legs need to be a bit down a bit more.
Well, it's obviously an incorrect horse, then, isn't it?
Ah, look, here's the lecture. While you're on that bridge, you can make a difference. There you have the commonality between the two men. The odds are against us and the situation is grim. You there?
No.
No. He's not even told us what Spock would say yet.
What, that he's an illogical, irrational human being for taking a mission like that?
Pausing again.
Where are you actually up to?
They're just about to ride off into the sunset and go through the
Right.
desert.
He's just telling us about Spock. They're just about to ride off now, James.
Resuming.
Let us know when the screen goes white.
Screen's gone
Now.
white.
Synchronized.
Richard, how is it we've stayed in sync for this entire film and yet these guys have struggled?
Because they're doing it wrong.
It's because James is watching some dodgy car boot sale edition. Has the label on the top of the DVD started to peel off? Can you see the word recordable DVD on it? Ah, this is what it is. Was it from Wish? Is someone doing subtitles in the bottom corner like this?
I mean, the film's nearly at a close now, so let's talk about the film.
Who the hell are you?
It's not finished yet. There's a huge fight scene to come yet.
It's not a very good one, but
The death of Kirk as well.
let's be. Yes, that was unsatisfying. So, what is it about this film? I think pick something that you really like about this film.
The Enterprise crashing.
Yeah, I think that for me that's a standout moment.
Two Enterprises, two captains.
Well, I'll go for something different. Yeah, the two captains bit, but in particular, that scene in the Nexus, not this bit, the scene and the intimacy between them, and like James pointed out, the bits where they find what they've got in common and they're actually talking to each other.
When they're in the
that
Ops.
bit. Yeah, that bit's very, very good.
James?
Well, it's the first big screen outing for the TNG crew. Sadly, the last outing for the Enterprise D. The two captains here having their working together moment, and then we'll go off on a new TNG adventure after this.
I mean, remembering back to seeing this at the cinema, it was our first chance to see the special effects wise, the Enterprise D in space in that sort of level of detail. It was quite amazing.
The Enterprise B as well. Being able to see that and filling in that sort of hole, because obviously we knew what the Enterprise C looked like. We'd had that in Next Generation. We knew what the D Enterprise C looked like. The Enterprise B had always been a little bit of a mystery, and to see that was nice.
Well, we knew it was an Excelsior class.
I was going to say we knew it was an Excelsior, because of the observation
in
lounge
the
models.
conference room. Yeah.
But like James said, it was slightly different as an Excelsior. It had extra bits and.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, they backfilled a load of history. I mean, we kill off Kirk. We see the end of the Enterprise D. A lot of full stops happen in this film. I mean, I would say there was no need to destroy the Enterprise D, and there was no need to kill off Kirk particularly. I don't know why they decided they were going to.
Movie moments.
Shock factor.
I mean, for me, the most horrific moment in any of the Trek films is when the original Enterprise is destroyed in Search for Spock. Losing the D was bad, but the original one was something else. You see the first one go.
Would you say that's one of the worst points in any of the Star Trek films?
Well, worst in the... No, it was a brilliant bit of film. We just didn't want to see the Enterprise destroyed.
Like the death of Data.
Yeah, like the death of Data. But every 2 years I upgrade my Android.
Here he is, Dr. Soren with his creme brulee torch. Because that's what it is.
He's just not a menacing villain, is he? There's no...
Who would you have cast as Dr. Soren then if you wanted someone menacing?
I'd have written a better character.
So you don't think it's a fault of the actor?
No, Malcolm McDowell's
he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd have had a schizophrenic Klingon with Tourette's.
Do you know who I would have had to play him if I could have recast it? Willem Dafoe.
He'd have done as good a job with the character as Malcolm McDowell would have done. I'm a big fan of Willem Dafoe's, but I think, let's be honest, whether it's existentially xenophobic or not, you want to see us fighting a proper alien, didn't you? That's what you want to see in a Star Trek film.
This bit's great. This bit where Kirk jumps over because he knows this is the end for himself, but he's going to do it. You know, he knows he's not getting out there.
Yes, there's no one there to beam him out at the last possible moment.
Well, he always knew he would die alone.
Yeah.
There you go, Dan. Star Trek V reference.
But he doesn't die alone. He's with...
No, he's alone. He's alone when he goes.
No, Picard is looking at him.
Picard's literally lying down with him, isn't he?
Now, let this be a lesson if you're watching this as to why cybersecurity is so important. So, for instance, if you've got a secure computer, you should probably set a password. Otherwise, someone else could, lock your missile out.
But we know the password. It's the shield frequency modulation for the Enterprise D.
No, that's James's PIN number for his bank card.
257.4.
He's going to go to Cash Point in the morning and change it.
Uh-oh. Bye! Oh, I do love a big explosion filmed from different angles.
Right then, boys and girls, we only have one chance to get this shot, so set up every camera you can.
But the thing is, if you were hell-bent on destroying that star and sending that missile up there, why on God's earth on the launcher would you even install clamps? Just saying.
I think that's a minor plot hole compared to the glaring one that goes through the entire film. But you've got a good point.
He obviously wasn't totally committed.
No, I don't think so.
But there is one point in this film that we don't see, and it's when Picard is picked up by the shuttle a bit later and goes to the wreckage of the Enterprise. We don't see the discussion where he asked Riker to explain why the Enterprise has been completely destroyed. So I left him in charge for 5 minutes.
James, we all see that because we're not all watching the DVD release.
So I think we're all universally agreed that a big fundamental flaw in this film is the character of Dr. Soren. So if you could pick something that you could change about this film to make it better, but without fundamentally literally having a different character, what would you do to try and improve it? How do you think this film could be better?
More Shatner.
More Shatner.
More Shatner improves everything.
More aliens.
Yeah, agreed with that. It needs more than just shaving your eyebrows off, doesn't it?
I think if they'd have...
Could they have got DeForest Kelly to appear? That would have been brilliant.
If they could have found a slightly better plot device and made it so that the Duras sisters were the main villain throughout the entire film.
Actually, they needed more... This planet that they're on now, where the solar system is going to get destroyed. Yeah, but the thing was, there was an inhabited planet in the Viridian system. It should have been this one. The whole pressure should have been Picard saying, all these people on this planet are going to die, plus my crew, plus everything else. There was the whole... If he'd appealed to Kirk and said, the Enterprise is going to be destroyed and my crew are going to die, it probably would have been a bit more compelling.
Anne-Marie, stay tuned for the hot tub special edition of Let's Talk Trek coming your way soon.
God.
Hopefully at some time this year.
I mean, in all seriousness, I think what we were talking about before about Malcolm McDowell being a great actor, but this part just being wrong, I think it wouldn't have taken much. I think if we could have just seen why he was so obsessed with getting back into the Nexus, what his backstory was, if he had some sort of tragedy in his past which was forcing him to do this.
He was an Elorian, so he'd lost his family, everything when the Borg.
So if we'd have had a few shots of that, if we'd have had a counterpoint and could have empathised with him, maybe, I think that would have made a much better film.
Oh, we've got the sequence coming up where Picard throws away the priceless archaeological artifact that Professor Galen gave us.
Star Trek V throwback. The shuttle that just flew past Picard.
Yes, it was modified Galileo.
Why no one had actually cranked open the shuttle bay door and released a shuttlecraft from the Enterprise to go looking for Picard?
Mind all those radiation barrels, everyone.
Watch out, Worf, one might fall on you. Ooh. Yes. The magic cat.
Yes. Somehow Data never notices the difference.
Sir Richard's run away. See, now that's a good point by Claire. This film needed more Shatner and one of the original crew to witness his death. It lacked emotional importance because there wasn't enough of a bond with Picard.
Yeah, you could have had Spock there for that scene. That would have been great, wouldn't it? Or Scotty.
Is it because they wanted to base it around that whole die alone? As much as Picard was there, none of Kirk's friends were there.
Look, there's the fish tank. No sign of Livingston there.
I think you're a bit ahead of us again, James.
Yeah, you are.
Picard's back in his TNG uniform.
No, we're still Data and Spock
God's
at the moment. Right, we've got Riker digging around in the ready room now.
Yes, so Picard picks up that.
Yeah, he's just picked up the Kurlanaskus.
Yes, and throws it away.
Which, incidentally, if he just discards it there with the Enterprise D ruins, how does it make it into his archive room in the premiere episode of Picard?
Well, obviously, someone goes and salvages a ship afterwards, don't they? In fact, there's a story on it.
They have to, because they don't want the civilization on the neighbouring planet to find the wreckage when they can get there.
There's a novel on it called The Return, and in it, the first couple of written by William Shatner, and the first couple of chapters are all about them chopping up the ship and stripping it of everything of any value, ready for its final decommission.
Do you think he enjoyed writing that? I know, we'll take the Enterprise I wasn't in charge of and I'll chop it up and strip it down and send it to the far corners of the galaxy.
So in that book, Kirk gets reanimated by the Borg.
Oh, yes, I've heard about that.
It's a trilogy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, this is a full stop moment, isn't it, where Riker and Picard beam off the Enterprise bridge for the final time.
Oh, there we go.
Well, I mean, it's not a bad film.
It's a very enjoyable film. It's an easy one.
Great film.
But, it wouldn't make it onto a desert island with me, I'm afraid.
No, definitely not.
Which one would make it onto a desert island, then?
But I think if you're to name how many films, Star Trek films, are you allowed on your desert island? Just the one?
One.
Just the one?
One.
Then for me it would be Insurrection.
I'd be extremely torn between...
All right, who are you? What have you done with Richard?
No. I almost agree with Richard there. I'd be very torn between Wrath of Khan and Insurrection. Those are my two favourite.
So I'm on a desert island. I'm by myself. I might not be getting rescued for ages. I'm going to take the motion picture because it goes on forever. So...
Also, when you watch it, you feel a bit stoned.
Yeah, and time just sort of, yeah. I would probably take Star Trek 6, in fairness.
Only in the motion picture do they wear brown uniforms.
Yeah, Star Trek 6. Bit of Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
I see you, Kirk. Can you see me?
Me?
From hell's heart I stab at thee.
I'd give real money if he'd shut up.
No, what is it? Why have they always got a fascination with the classics?
I've thoroughly enjoyed this watch along this evening, and everyone who's participated in watching along with us, you have a lot of thanks.
I think there were actually about anywhere between 7 and 10 people that foolishly watched the entire film with us.
That's really, it generally is very touching when you think about just annoying people talking over a film. But I hope that our facts and our facts entertained you throughout.
Yes. Well, thank you for taking time out of your all busy days and things.
Yeah.
We will do another one.
Remember, not all of the facts that we gave this evening were true.
And not all of the references to "hello, hello" were intended to offend.
No.
Right, we'll do another one probably next month, I think.
I'm sure we can organise something, even if it's not a film. It could be a feature-length episode or just a standard episode.
Or an episode of Dallas, just for fun.
Or an episode of Hello, Hello.
I'll tell you what, next month we shall watch the TNG special Code of Honor. No,
I didn't quite make it to the mute button on Dan in time then.
Is that the one where they hide the
good morning?
Where they hide the dynamite and the sausages down the policeman's legs, trousers? Yeah.
And they have the little tank.
Oh, bless. Right.
Listen carefully. I shall say this only once.
Oh, I love that.
It's been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen.
As they say at the end of all films in a cinema, why are you stiau here? Go home.
Yeah. Been a pleasure, folks. Thank you for joining us.
Film's over.
Au revoir.
Toodle pip.
Bye-bye.
Until we meet again.